Hello and welcome to the fifth edition of the Goa Arts and Literary Festival 2014. I have with me Jared Thomas, from a Southern Australian, who's an author and has ventured into different fields of writing. So I'd like to start with just asking you what inspired you to be a writer.
Okay, well, my family is I'm of Aboriginal and European descent, and there were many terrible things that had happened to my family members during colonisation. And when I was young, I watched a play in which issues about racism were discussed, and I watched this play and I thought it was incredible to see Aboriginal and non-Aboriginal people together on stage working to fight racism. So as a young person, I was really moved by this experience, and then I started to write theatre. So my first play, which was about my great-grandfather and some of his experiences, it was performed in Kenya and Uganda. So I started my early writing career as a playwright.
And you've also written poems as well. You've written poems, you've worked in newspapers, I guess, and you've had a lot of books written out in which you promote the fact that you're an indigenous writer. You write about your history, the culture, and as well, and you promote it in various events as well.
Yeah, that's right. So I've just returned from the Ubud Writers Festival in Indonesia. I'm about to speak at the Adelaide Writers Festival early next year, and Washington DC also next year. So a lot of my work is about issues affecting Aboriginal Australia. So Australia being a first world country, but unfortunately there's many Aboriginal people living in third world conditions. It's not acceptable in such a place.
So it is still existing there?
Yes, absolutely. So a lot of Aboriginal writing is talking about our history and some of our experience and elements of our culture.
So as in, you'd like to, like, a lot has not been written, there's a lot of fiction going on. So would you like to promote a certain kind of writing that shows or gives a social reform, that showcases the reality that's happening?
Yeah, well, I'm at the moment, my focus is upon young adult literature. So these three books, Calypso Summer being my recent release. So this book here is it's a very contemporary type of book. It's about a young guy who's into Rastafarianism and loves one-day international cricket, and he's getting into strife, and he's told by his employer, he works in a health food store, and his white employer tells him to find out about some Aboriginal medicines to incorporate into their product line, and he doesn't know how to approach this. And by going back to country, to his land, and meeting with his people, he gains a real knowledge of where he's come from, which gives him direction, some real purpose in his life. So I'm writing very contemporary type stories,
right,
which happen to incorporate elements about our culture, including our mythologies and these types of stories.
So festivals like these, what do you think they do for arts and literature, really?
Oh, well, they're a great opportunity to connect. Well, I've wanted to visit India for a long time. We share a similar colonial experience.
Is this the first time you've visited India?
Yeah, this is the first time I've visited India. So, of course, I'm aware that we've both been colonised by the same people. And
right,
we're in a process of decolonisation. And we have much to learn from each other, from
right,
our respective experiences. But it also gives me an opportunity to meet with other writers, and other academics, and to engage with ideas, and of course to promote my works, which
right.
is yeah.
And like, so for the other indigenous writers, like, there are not many of them in India as well as in different countries, are not really promoted, they are not known. So what's the message that you'd like to give them?
Well, in Australia, until recent times, Aboriginal people weren't publishing. So in 1988, there was a book called My Place by Sally Morgan, which really opened the floodgates of Aboriginal publishing. There were many autobiographies that were then released, and in recent times there's been more fiction writers, so we moved away from autobiography into fiction. The last 10 to 15 years, all of the major Australian writing awards have been won by Aboriginal writers.
Because that's true to the real, that's like,
because it's a real story, it's
right,
a deep story. They're
right,
they're stories of courage and love and resistance and struggle, and much complexity. So people are really interested in our stories. So similar with film. much of the award-winning films in
Out of the
Australia,
Aboriginal
yeah, they're either
themes.
directed by Aboriginal people or they feature Aboriginal stories.
Right.
So things can change really quickly. Things can change really
That's
quickly.
true. That's true. And like you've ventured into a lot of parts of writing. You've been a playwright, a poet, a author, and so which of these do you feel is you can express yourself really creatively, very openly?
They're all different. They're all different forms, and so I have a PhD in English and creative writing, and so while I've been writing for over 20 years, I'm still a very young person.
Right.
So it's about experimentation, and there's different stories that belong to different mediums. So there are some ideas that I really need to put into the form of a play because I need to connect with my community. I need an audience to see these works.
Right.
Other stories are more suited to the medium of fiction.
Right.
So at the moment, I am able to write books quite quickly and autonomously before working with an editor for these to be released. So for me, this is the quickest way to get those stories out.
Outside. Right.
Yeah.
So I think on the note of change, you were here at the 5th edition of Goa Arts and Tree Festival 2014. Thank you very much.
Thank you.